A menu is a list of features that you can do on your computer. Think of it like this way. When you go to a restaurant, you have a menu brought to you that you can order from, like sushi, shrimp, lobster, things like that. Well, on your computer here, you can look at menus of things that you can do. For example, you've already covered two of them. Anywhere when you right-click, it brings up a menu. Like there's a menu for my desktop that I right-clicked on, a menu when I right-click on the garbage bin, or right-click on a shortcut, or right-click on a folder, documents, etc. It brings up a list of different things and features that I can do, a menu, as it were, to what I just right-clicked on. Click off in a blank area. Another menu is on your Start button. When you click on that, it gives you a list of, right here, recent programs that I've been working in. And then if I click down at the bottom, All Programs, in fact, if I just leave it there, I just hover, it naturally takes me over to the submenu of all programs that are available on the computer, including software. And if I want to go back, I just click back. If I want to go forward, I click forward to the submenu of all programs. So when I come in here to all the programs on my computer, you can see I can scroll up and down and see a list of them. If I go ahead and click on Accessories, it opens up all the items within that folder or another menu to choose from, including a calculator. So if I left click on the calculator, it opens it up. Go ahead and close out of it. So now we got two menus that we've worked with, the right click to bring it up or clicking on the Start button. The other menus I want to cover real quick are actually within Windows, and Windows are brought up by actually double clicking on one of these icons here on your desktop, including a folder. So if I double click on the exercise folder, kind of maximize that. Up at the top you have the address bar here, and that address is actually a menu. It says right now I'm in the exercise folder. Well, what's in front of the exercise folder? Is this a subfolder to another folder, or is this on the desktop? If I click on this little arrow before it, the one that's above that in the hierarchical structure is the desktop. So first it's the desktop, then it's the exercise folder. So if I go back to the drop down arrow and click on desktop, it changes my details view here and it shows me what's on the desktop. It's the exercise folder. Double click on that, that's the current folder I'm in. If I had another folder in here, if I right click and I go down to new and I create a new folder, the moment I left click on new folder, it opens up and it gives me an opportunity to give it a name. You see how it's shaded there? If I just click off in a blank area, it's going to accept new folder as the name. Well, I don't want to accept it as a new name. I'll just type in something else and then hit enter on the keyboard and it accepts that name. So if I double click on that folder, you see up here on the address bar, the menu that comes along, it says I'm in the something else folder. I can go back and click on the exercise folder, and I can go back and click on the drop down arrow and go to my desktop. Now I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself because if you want more details on this, we'll go more in depth. You want to watch the Windows Explorer training video. But for right now, we're just focusing on menus, okay? And I did add a new folder, subfolder in the exercise folder. And by the same token, you can click on the drop down arrow and view everything that's on the desktop that you see here, just pretty much as you see here as well. So exercise folder and something else. So there's the menu. Now something else that will happen is that you do have a drop down arrow at the end of your address bar. Now this one changes and gives you the actual address that the computer sees. Click on the drop down arrow and there's the actual address. So if I select it here, the actual address says the C is the hard drive. And then it says of the users that log on to your computer from the hard drive that have programs installed or documents or folders, there's one that's called training. So when I log in, it's the training as a training user. And then on the desktop, I've got my exercise folder, and below the exercise folder I have something else. Right here, the training, I could have other users like my son Billy or daughter Susie logging on to the computer, and each one that logs in will have a different login name. So it could be, instead of training here, it could be Susie, it could be Bob, and then on their desktop they'll have folders like exercises or something else. Anyways, we don't want to focus on that one here, at least not yet. That's really in depth. But like you say, if you get this and it comes up just like this and you don't want to focus on that, you rather go back to where it had the little drop down arrows, look over here on your sidebar and you can click on something else. It pops it back into a more user-friendly graphic user interface where you can click on the arrows and see that the only folder beneath the exercise is something else, or you can go back to the drop down arrow and go right to your desktop. It's a great way of quickly navigating around. Like I said, we'll cover a little bit more later. So you have your different types of menus. The last menu I want to show you is that in previous versions of Windows, like Windows XP 2000, you usually had a menu up at the top, like File, a file menu. Let me show you what I mean, and again we'll cover this more in depth. Let me click off in a blank area, and I don't see the menu up here, but if I want to bring up the menu, I can click on the Organize button. I can go down to Layout and come over here and click on the menu bar, and it brings up my menu bar. Does this look familiar to previous Windows users? Well, in any case, there's my file. Click on File. I can create a new folder. Let me click off in a blank area. There's my edit for anything that I have selected within the folder. The view menu here is just about the same as when I click off in a blank area and I use my views here on the toolbar here, right? Because I can select different types of views, like extra large icons so I can see the pictures, but I can also view extra large icons from that menu as well. And the different types of tools for folder options and my help, of course. Now if I want to get rid of this and I don't want it, I want to click on the Organize, go back down to Layout, and uncheck or just click on the menu bar to get rid of it. Another way of bringing it up is holding down your Alt key. Once you press the Alt key once, it'll bring it up. Now it's not going to stay up because if I click off, it collapses it. The whole purpose of the Alt key is shortcuts, so if I hold down the Alt key, let me show you what I mean. You see that little underline, the letter F, and you see the E's underline and the V's underline and the T? That means after I execute the shortcuts for these menus by holding down the Alt key, I can hit the letter F and it will pop open the file menu because it's underlined in the letter F. I can hit Escape on my keyboard or click off in a blank area, it gets rid of it, hold down the Alt key, and then hit the letter E to pop open the Edit menu, as you'll see in just a second. See, it pops it open. And then I can also, you see that, how that's underlined? I can also hit the letter U, and it will also undo the rename that I gave it, or anything else that you see underlined here. Those are shortcuts. So the things I want to focus on in here, let me click off in a blank area, is a quick review. I'm going to restore this, click on the Restore button so I can see my desktop, is that when you right-click, that's a menu of all the items you can do, whatever you right-clicked. The Start button has a list of menus, and then also in your folder, when you maximize it, you have menus as well. Even this, I would say, is considered a menu of choices of what folders or icons you want to go to. But up here, one of the choices is clicking on the drop-down arrow, your address, and the other one was actually bringing up, by clicking on the Organize button, your menu bar, so you can actually see the menus here as well. And I'll go ahead and turn that off because we'll cover that in a later training video, Windows Explorer. See you there. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel, get notified of the latest videos, and for only $2 a month, you can have access to all my Microsoft Office training videos.